Did you know that you can add foiling to your cards or other paper projects with just a die cut machine or cheap laminator? If you want to see how, you need to watch this video. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. In the past, I've shared some of Thermoweb's supplies like adhesive transfers and toner card fronts that can be used to foil on your cards or other paper projects with just a die cut machine that's maybe already in your stash or a cheap laminator. Many of you asked if they would come out with new designs, and they have again come out with some lovely designs for Valentine's Day and beyond. If you hadn't seen how to use these supplies in the past, don't worry, I'm gonna show you exactly the steps that you need to take in order to foil with either your die cut machine or your laminator. So let's jump right in and take a look at these new self-adhesive foil transfers. These are the new iCraft Deco Foil adhesive transfers from Thermoweb, and this set is called Love and Kisses. You get 3 sheets of the same design. Each adhesive transfer can be used once. So what you do is just cut apart the adhesive transfer that you want. You'll notice that there's a front clear sheet. There's also a back clear sheet. Cut them together and keep them together as you're deciding on your design and layout. Once you know where you want to put your transfer, peel off the back protective layer and lay the adhesive transfer down on your cardstock. Continue cutting different designs out of the background and peeling off that back layer and then placing down on your cardstock. While this may work best on smooth cardstocks, you can absolutely use a color cardstock that has even a little bit of texture to it. They will work just fine. So I am going to continue to cut around close to the design, but not right up against it, and then peel off that back protective layer and lay it down on my cardstock. You can create an entire card front with all these different designs from this new set. So I have 2 sentiments and a few designs of hearts to create this card. Now, once you have everything placed down, you can decide whether you want to put it through a die cut machine or a laminator to get the adhesive onto the cardstock. Since I don't have to heat up my laminator for this process, I'm going to use a die cut machine. Once you've run it through your die cut machine on your platform that is made for your thin metal dies, peel off carefully that top protective layer, revealing the adhesive. Then use a piece of Deco foil transfers. These are the colors of different foils. I have some Gina K Radiant Red, some Laura Kelly Flamingo Pink. You can use different colors of foil on the same card because you're cutting the foil to a small enough piece that it is only covering up the adhesive transfer that you're working with at that point in time. So you can see tiny little squares of flamingo pink, tiny little squares of that brilliant red, and I'm just placing them right on top of the adhesive. And it is very easy to see where that adhesive is when you're in person. It's not as easy to see it in camera for sure, but once you have everything covered up, you're going to place it back into a carrier sheet and back into either your die cut machine or your laminator. Now this time around, we're adhering the foil down to the adhesive. So once you run it through your laminator or your die cut machine, you simply peel off those bits of foil, peel and reveal, as Thermoweb says, to reveal these beautiful foiled elements. Like I mentioned, I like to use the die cut machine with these because I feel like it saves me a little bit of time and I don't have to worry about heating up my laminator. The other benefit to using your die cut machine is you can work on different mediums like vellum here, and you do the same exact process. Just cut the design out, peel off the back, and then place it into a carrier sheet so you can run it through your die cut machine. The reason I use a carrier sheet is because my plates get kind of dirty and I don't want anything getting on the card front. So once you run it through your die cut machine, that adheres the adhesive to the vellum. Now it's time to adhere the foil to the adhesive, which is now on vellum. And again, the benefit of using your die cut machine is that you don't have to worry about heating up the vellum too much and having it warp. So I'm going to put the foil right on top of that adhesive and then run it through the die cut machine again and peel it off, and you have a vellum with foil on it and it's not warped at all. You can do the same thing with acetate, which is really great for creating foiled effects on shaker cards. I have the little piece of tissue paper behind the acetate here just so you can see exactly what I'm working on. I'm just going to do the same exact thing, cut around the design, peel off the back protective sheet, lay it down on the acetate, and then run that through your die cut machine. Once that's done, you can peel off the front protective layer and you will see that the adhesive has been adhered to your acetate and there's no warping involved because you're not using any heat at all. Then just lay some foil on top of the elements. Again, you can use 2 different colors of foil here, which looks really great on the acetate, and run that also through your die cut machine. And it's the pressure from the die cut machine that adheres the foil to the adhesive transfers. So then simply peel off the foil and you've got this shiny foil design on acetate. Now let's check out the new toner card fronts. These are the new toner card fronts. This is called Love Struck. You get 4 pieces of 2 different designs. So there are the arrows and there are the hearts. And with toner card fronts, you have to use a laminator to adhere the foil down to the toner. So I'm using a Royal Sovereign laminator. I'm going to heat it up beyond when the ready light goes on. I'm going to make it nice and hot. I have my toner card front and a piece of foil. I'm going to trim the foil so it's just slightly larger than that toner card front. And that just allows, just in case a touch of shifting goes on when you place it down, you'll still get coverage. Then I'm going to place it in a folded up carrier sheet. I have the color side facing me and the silver side facing the toner. Once that's done, I'm going to place the folded edge into the laminator. Now, if you have any issues with getting good results, make sure you're going in the direction of the design. So you can have the arrows on the side rather than on the top facing vertically. The same thing with the hearts. And then once you peel and reveal, you get beautiful results for your backgrounds with these quick and easy toner card fronts. So I'm going to use both the horizontal hearts and those vertical arrows on a couple of different cards. And now that we have all these beautiful foiled backgrounds and designs for cards, let's put them together and make some cards. For this first card, I'm just going to trim down the panel that we created with all those adhesive transfers. And then I'm going to use some Therm Memory Runner XL to adhere the panel down to an A2 piece of cardstock. So I cut that panel down to about 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to use a few enamel dots from the stamp market to accent this design, just to create a little dimension on there since all of the foiling is flat. Last but not least, I'm going to create some tiny white dots with the Pentel Milky Pop white gel pen around the outside. I felt like that was a good way to tie together the dots on the red heart, the enamel dots, and then some of these small white dots that I'm creating right on the card as well. But so here you can see you can just use a bunch of adhesive transfers to get a gorgeous, shiny, metallic foiled card front and just add a few embellishments. For this next card, I'm going to use the vellum that we added foiling to. So I have some pattern paper from Catherine Pooler. I'm going to cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4 and mat it on some black cardstock. Then I'm just going to take some Memory Runner XL from Therm and just adhere it behind the foiled elements so that I'll hide that adhesive behind there and you won't see it at all. And the vellum just kind of tones down the pattern paper design so that you can really see that foiling on top. Very simple, so much fun to make. For the acetate card, I am going to cut out one of Catherine Pooler's dies out of black cardstock, and you can see that I'm adhering this black cardstock die cut outside the foiled design on the acetate. Next, I'm going to cut this same die cut out of white fun foam. Then I'm going to use up that black piece of cardstock and I'm going to use it as a mat for some pattern paper that I've cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. 1.25. This is the inside of the die cut that I cut out of black cardstock. So I'm going to lay that down as my shaker base, and then I'm going to cut around the acetate right around the outside there. Now I'm going to use some Thermoweb Ultra Bond, a nice sturdy liquid glue that does give you some dry time to shift it into place, and I'm going to adhere the black with the acetate down to the white fun foam. Then I'm going to place a little bit of the Ultra Bond all around that frame that we've created and pour the shaker goodies in the middle of the base that we created. And then all I have to do is flip the frame over. It's already dried a little bit. That's why I like to do that first. So it has a little bit of dry time still left, but so I can slide it into place, but it has enough of a quick enough dry time that I'm able to shake these shaker goodies around. This time I'm going to cut the hearts out of the Pretty Pink Posh wonky squares, and I'm going to peel off an adhesive transfer and lay it right down on the card front. Yes, you can combine these. So once I run it through my die cut machine, I'm going to peel off the front, and then I'm going to use some Deco foil. This is from the maker Forte, and I'm going to lay that right down and run it through my die cut machine again. Then when I peel it off, you can see that you got both the background with those tiny hearts and the adhesive transfer hearts. So you can definitely mix and match these two different types of foiling together. I'm going to use the I Adore You from those adhesive transfers, and I'm going to place it down at the bottom of a piece of white cardstock. Run it through my die cut machine to adhere the adhesive down to the cardstock, and then place a small strip of foil right on top. Run that through my die cut machine and then peel that off, and I have a foiled sentiment. So I'm just going to cut this down into a sentiment strip. Now I'm going to use some Thermoweb white foam squares to pop up that wonky square onto an A2 piece of red cardstock in the background. I'm just going to use 5, one on each corner and one in the center, just to give this a little bit of height. Then I'm going to cut those foam squares in half so that I can place it behind the sentiment strip, and then I can pop that up on top of the foiled heart in the center of that panel. So again, just adding a little bit of dimension that you can use with both the toner card fronts and the adhesive transfers. I have a wonky square cut out of white cardstock from Pretty Pink Posh again, and I am cutting out a sentiment that says "You are loved" from the self-adhesive transfers. So I'm going to figure out where I'm going to place that. Then I'm going to peel off the background, place it down on my cardstock, and then run that through my die cut machine in order to adhere the adhesive to the cardstock. But I'm going to do a few more designs as well. So I have these little kiss marks on the bottom here, and then I'm going to place a small heart or two on the top left-hand corner. So you can play around with your designs before you peel off that back protective layer. Once you have them all adhered down though, and the back protective layer has been removed, you can then run it through your die cut machine. Then simply peel off the front protective layer and lay your foil down. I'm going to use, again, a mix of foil colors. So I have the brilliant red on the elements, and then I'm going to use the flamingo pink on the sentiment. Just remember to be very careful when you're peeling off that top protective layer so you don't tear the adhesive. Once all the colors are covered on that adhesive transfer, place it again in that carrier sheet and just run it through your die cut machine or laminator to adhere the foil now down to the adhesive. Then carefully peel off the foil and you can see you have your design. There was a tiny little dot or two next to the hearts. I'm just going to use a sand eraser from Tombow to erase those off the cardstock. I trimmed the panel down, that was the toner card front, to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to adhere that down to some regular cardstock. Once that was done, I am going to pop up that wonky square again with some Thermoweb white foam squares. So then I'm just going to place that in the center. I don't think this needs much more. Tons of foil, some really cute designs, and a little bit of dimension too. I don't know about you, but I love the ease and speed with which you can get foiling results with these Thermoweb supplies. If you're very into all things foil, I have an entire playlist about foiling, and I'll link to that right here. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Or cheap laminator. It's too high. Video. So speed this up. Speed it up because I'm losing light. I think that's good. I think it's everything.